Wanda, you guys are live on YouTube right now, and I've got to leave, so you guys can start anytime you want.
Thank you, Larry. Curtis, it looks like you have a quorum, so whenever you're ready to get started, we can do so. And good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Curtis, you're muted.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Today's meeting, College Advisory Board, City of Winston-Salem at 2 p.m. is now called to order. Madam Secretary, would you take the roll call? Ms. Paulina Page.
Yes. Cameron Allen from Wake Forest. Here. Ian Brewstrom for Forsyth Tech Community College.
Here.
Sophie Brown, Wake Forest University.
Here.
Haley Kimmerer, University of North Carolina School of Arts.
Here.
Allie Morton, Wake Forest. Myra Ramirez, Salem College.
Here.
Faith Springs, Forsyth Tech. Curtis Walker, Forsyth Tech.
Present.
And Bruce William III. We have three that requested excused absence: Lester Davian King, Bruce Williams III, and Allie Morton.
All right. Thank you, Madam Secretary. The next thing on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Do you have the minutes present, Madam Secretary?
I think I had them on my email. Give me 1 second.
Curtis, everyone should have the minutes. Jamie emailed those to the College Advisory Board. So
Yeah, I have it right here.
Okay, everybody would just take a look at them, see if changes. And also, we need for everyone who's a member of CAB to have your cameras on, because this is an official meeting and it is being live streamed to the general public. So we do ask that you have your cameras on if you're a member of CAB. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say, everybody take a minute to review the minutes.
I apologize. Can you guys see me on right now currently?
No, we can't see you.
I think I'm having a technical issue with my camera. I joined with a camera, but it's not displaying it. It's just black for me.
Okay, I'm already on the big list.
All right, noted. Does anyone have any issues with the minutes, or like to make an amendment to the minutes?
Was that Lori? Yes.
No? Madam Secretary, can you take the roll call that we adopt the minutes, approve the minutes?
Excuse me?
I have 1 minute, Jack.
Can you take the vote on whether we adopt or approve the minutes?
Can you roll out 4 cake for me?
Just as a reminder to everyone, we do a roll call vote because we're doing a virtual meeting. And so Paulina, what Curtis means is that you would you could even just look at the screen and call everyone's name, and everybody would either say yay or nay for approval.
Okay. Myra Ramirez.
Yay.
Haley Kimmerer.
Yay.
Cameron Allen.
Yay.
Sophie Brown.
Yay.
Curtis Walker.
Yay.
Faith Springs.
Yay.
Ian Brewster.
Yay.
Thank you.
The yeas.
Harry, hold on. We would ask for any nays as well.
I don't think will there be any nays? I didn't count. I thought everybody voted. So
Yes,
are there any
but
nays?
as a formality, you still have to ask if there are any nays.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are there any nays?
No.
No. Okay.
Then
thank you.
the yeas have it. Therefore, the minutes from the last meeting are approved. The next part of the agenda is the committee meetings. But before we actually get to that, Ms. Wanda, did you have anything to say before we get to the minutes, the committee meetings? Okay. So as of last meeting, if I'm reading this right, the community projects is chaired by Faith Springs. The government affairs is chaired by Ian Brewster, Ali Morton being the co-chair, who's not present at this meeting, and public relations chaired by Cameron Allen. I'll start at the last one is Ms. Cameron Allen on public relations. You're muted.
Sorry,
Okay.
Chris, my audio cut out a little bit. Could you repeat it for me?
I just stated the chairs of the last of all the committees, and so I stopped at the public relations, which is you, and so I would like for you to give your report on the public relations.
Okay, thank you so much. So
You're
what
welcome.
we have coming up, everyone, is the newsletter, which would be due for submission in November, just to update about what we've been doing and speaking about throughout the semester, what projects we would like to finish going forward. So right now for the newsletter, what I imagine and what I would like any input for is that I would like to have a list of names for everyone, all of our chairs and all of our CAB members this year. So that's in the newsletter. I would also like to have a written statement or some information about our CAB chair for this year. And then I wanted to open it up to see if anyone, and I will send an email out as well, would like to submit a letter about a project or something they find interesting in the Winston-Salem community that we could submit and build upon as we move throughout this year. So that would be something I would like to ask. If anyone would like to submit a letter, and there's some examples from last year as well that we could include. And then I know from each and every one of you as we sit here virtually as well today about the mental health repercussions for college and university students as we move through this time of being on virtual and having to social distance. So that's another point of reference that I would like to include. But the newsletter is definitely the main project that we're working on right now. So I thank y'all and would offer any feedback.
Okay. I definitely will draft up the letter from the chair, and I'll open up the floor for anyone else at this time. Does anyone have a project that they would like to submit for public relations, or has anyone known of something that would be interesting that can go into the newsletter? Maybe I said it wrong.
Okay, and we still have some time to think about it. We wanted to have it submitted before or around the same time that we schedule our meeting for November. So that'll be, within that time frame. So I'll send out an email as a reminder, have everyone a little bit of time to think about something they may find interesting, and then we can go from there.
I'll also submit something on Constitution Day that was held at Forsyth Tech. When is the due date for the items to be handed in?
We'd like it around the time whenever we solidify a meeting date for the November meeting. So by the end of this one, we'll have a little more of a clear due date.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr.
No one else?
Chair, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
did we not have some ideas that were floated at the last CAB meeting for articles? Cameron, did you already mention that? I might be repeating what you said. Did you already review what some of those ideas were?
I'm not aware of any ideas quite yet.
Oh, we didn't have any ideas yet?
I know that I probably spoke about the Constitution Day, which I could definitely draft up. I think Yak did something just recently. I can't recall exactly. I saw it on LinkedIn, just passing by. Mm-hmm. So that might be something that we could
well, I think that
about.
For you all, a good thing to do would be on the National League of Cities project that you all are going to be so involved in. And
yeah.
So hopefully you all can stick around for the call that's going to dovetail into this meeting, because it will give you a lot of good information to write about, because they're going to be looking to CAB for some leadership and for some ideas, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. But just for an article, an idea for an article, if someone would be interested even now in saying that they would write an article about what's going on, it would be a good thing to do. So that's a big one right there, Curtis. That's a big one.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Since no one else has any comments on public relations, thank you, Ms. Cameron, for that. Government Affairs is headed by Ian Brewster and co-chaired by Allie Morton. Ian, do you have anything to offer as far as where Government Affairs stands as of right now? Are you still having technical difficulties?
Can you guys hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Awesome. I apologize at this particular moment in time, as far as governmental affairs, I have not received any feedback or information on what we're going to be doing throughout this 2020-2021 season. I am looking forward to touching base with city council, though, to see what meetings and things are going on, so that I can have some information for the future.
All right, thank you, Ian. Community Projects is chaired by Faith Springs. Faith, do you have anything to offer as far as community projects at this time? Even though I know this is only our second meeting.
Right. Again, as Ian stated, nothing as far as projects to push forward at this point. We do have the National League of Cities meeting right after this meeting, so that's pretty much the emphasis at this time. Haven't really come up with anything separate from that at this time.
Okay, thank you. All right.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
As being chair members of these committees, are we entailed with coming up with some of the ideas as far as like our positions?
Well, actually, Ian, yes, you could, but we have some standing things that the committees do, like for instance, with Government Affairs, you all do usually attend the city
councils.
Actually,
Okay.
twice in the school year, once in the fall, once in the spring.
Okay.
And so I would suggest that you consider the date or a date in November. You usually go with YAC, is your sister board, the Youth Advisory Council. And I know that the Youth Council was looking at November as well. And so if you want to work with Jamie and I on that, then certainly we can make sure that you're in sync with what the Youth Council is trying to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and I think that, I don't know what else may be going on that may be of interest, but just make sure if you want to have some ideas about things that have been done in the past, feel free to speak with Jamie or with me or any of the veteran CAB members, Cameron, Curtis. Make sure you speak with them and they could give you some ideas too.
Right, and just to dovetail a springboard from that statement, I know that I often see things that are posted on the city website or they're posted on Facebook, different meetings and different things that are going on. So that might be an avenue to find some things as well. Okay. Since we've just heard from the committee chairs and obviously there are no committee reports going on right now, we'll move right to the next part of the agenda, the annual projects and review of past Collegiate Trust Talks. Last year, we were scheduled to have our Collegiate Trust Talks, but then COVID happened, but we were able to have the Forsyth Tech Collegiate Trust Talks. Ms. Wanda, do you want to explain that or do you want me to just tell them what we did last year?
Oh, you can, that was at your school, so feel free to go ahead and explain it to them.
Okay, so the Collegiate Trust Talks was sort of like a symposium where we had an opportunity to talk to different police officials at our school. So it was the sheriff and her staff at Forsyth Tech Community College. And the purpose was to engage the students as well as the police staff on enabling a better understanding of each other, which made a better, safer campus. And so we took the format that we would use going from CAB, and we brought that to the campus. What we learned was, one, that we come with different perceptions of the police. We knew that there was one student last year that was actually the child of one of the sheriffs that was in the local area, and his perception of race relationship and relationship between the community and police officers was totally different than people who did not have that relationship. We also knew that there was, we found out that there obviously was some trust issues between both parties. And so the purpose is, again, to create a better atmosphere and a communication between the community as well as the police force. And those are some of the things that we did during that talk. Now, the Collegiate Trust, the College Advisory Board Trust Talks were not held. And generally that is held, I think it's in March. Is that right, Ms. Wanda?
Yes.
It was in March. And because we were unfortunate that we were not able to have, it was held the year prior. Now, I'm not sure if Cameron, if you were on College Advisory Board, that was your second year last year. Were you, is that, am I right or wrong?
That was my first year, but I was only able to participate first semester.
Right, right. And so that's generally how it works. So I guess, Ms. Wanda, if you want to talk about it from the year prior, because I wasn't here the year prior.
Well, actually, the way Collegiate Trust Talks works is all of the colleges and universities in Winston-Salem come together and have student representatives, and they have administrators, as well as campus police and the Winston-Salem police all together to talk about different trends that are going on in the college community. And so each campus, of course, is very unique, very different. And so you may be seeing some issues on your campus that maybe some others aren't seeing on their campuses. And so this is a time to talk about some suggestions, concerns, issues, ideas directly with police personnel. And oftentimes there's not a safe and really open, transparent platform to do that for college students. And so we have found it to be very valuable, not only for the universities and for the colleges, but also for students to be able to just sit down one-on-one and be very direct and have real conversation with police. Because as you know, your on-campus police, you see them more, I'm sure, than you do City of Winston-Salem police. So to let them know about, or let them hear about some of the other things that are going on at different colleges and universities is really helpful for them. But also it gives you a chance to receive feedback from other people who may be able to help you out with some of the challenges that you're having on your respective campuses. But Collegiate Trust Talks is a very, very good program that has been going on for a number of years, and it just includes college students only. Now, the Trust Talks program as a whole can include anyone, anybody from the general public, but the specialized Trust Talks programs have focused on leadership, Winston-Salem, the disabled population, immigrants, refugees, and asylees, high school students, and so on. But anyway, it's a great program. You all usually do this, again, like Curtis said, in the spring. So just wanted you to go ahead and just know that so that you can have an awareness so that when it's time to really get into the weeds of planning for it, you'll be ready. But we will share any information from the past with you. And that way you can go ahead and kind of see more of what we're talking about on paper. And then if you have some things that you already know about that would be helpful, whether it's underage drinking, whether it's issues with student housing, whether it's tickets, you know, feeling like you're being ticketed at times that you shouldn't be, whatever the case may be, sexual assaults. We've had all kinds of topics that were covered during Collegiate Trust Talks. And so just think about those, and hopefully we can get into that a little bit more by the next meeting, because you all will have had some time to think about that.
And I think
questions
that
about Trust Talks, any questions? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think that I'll probably be able to find the flyers from last year, as well as the questions that we presented last year. So that might be helpful, so you can get an idea exactly what you're getting yourself into. All right, so again, Ms. Wanda already talked that we'll get to more ideas later. So I think the next thing on the agenda would be the National League of Cities community practice and addressing the basic needs of post-secondary students. I think you stated that this meeting will roll over into that, some of that, Ms. Wanda. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct, Curtis. And I definitely wanted to spend the bulk of this meeting with you all today talking about the National League of Cities initiative. I don't remember if we got much into that during the last CAB meeting. The National League of Cities initiative is a new initiative that is aimed at serving to fill the needs of college students when it comes to things like transportation, housing, or food insecurity. And so we decided to compete. It was actually a grant opportunity. We decided to compete for it. It's nationwide. And the city of Winston-Salem submitted an application, and we were one of 13 cities chosen to actually be awarded this grant opportunity. Now, when you hear the word grant, you usually think money, like, okay, we're getting some money. Actually, we're not. What we're getting is we're getting staff support from the National League of Cities for the next 2 years. And so they want to definitely tap into the College Advisory Board to decide what it is that Winston-Salem can do as a municipal governmental entity. What can the city of Winston-Salem do to support the local college community? What is it that students need? And so our focus, as we wrote the proposal, is on food insecurity and housing affordability and security. And so we know that especially in the midst of COVID-19, there may be a lot of students who are facing challenges that they were not facing before. Maybe students had jobs before, maybe they were working part-time while in school to help with tuition or with housing if they're living off campus and that type of thing. But maybe because of the restrictions, maybe their jobs have been cut and they may not have the source of income that they used to have. And so what is it that these students may need? What is it that the city can do to partner with local universities to make life a little bit easier so that students are able to focus on school and graduate on time? And so that is what this whole initiative is about. So you all are going to come in handy with respect to the fact that you are college students. You may be experiencing things, or you may have some peers and classmates who are experiencing things that you're aware of. And so I wanted to have a conversation right now about that with you all. I wanted you to please share anything that you may see or know about that touches on housing or that touches on food insecurity with your peers. And also, when we get on our call, this dovetailing into this meeting, the National League of Cities will be probably soliciting some of your ideas and thoughts that pertain to how we can flesh out our proposal as well. So, and we do have a guest with us today, Ms. Tiffany Turner. Tiffany is with the City of Winston-Salem's Think Orange campaign. Tiffany she works directly with Mayor Alan Joines and others in the community to address food insecurity. So we welcome Tiffany to the call, but would you all please, hey Tiffany, would you all please just brainstorm on some things that you think the city could do? We are actually leading with with Winston-Salem State University for our collegiate input as a university. They agreed early on to partner with us, and we're hoping all of the universities will. But right now we do have a commitment from Winston-Salem State to partner with the City of Winston-Salem on identifying needs and solutions. So anybody want to get that started? What do you think? What are you seeing? What do you think would be good?
I know that, so me and Ian we're working on something called Economic Development Symposium, but we had the opportunity to talk to Reverend William Bass at the Share Cooperative, and we did notice there was a map up. There are quite a few food deserts located here in Winston-Salem. And so we had opportunity to see that map and see those communities. Those communities happen to be close to public schools, as well as Forsyth Technical Community College. Now, at Forsyth Technical Community College, we do know that there's extreme poverty here in Winston-Salem. I think it's in the bottom 85th percentile nationally. But more importantly, for collegiate students, they experience food insecurity a lot at Forsyth Technical Community College. And so we provide a lot of food because sometimes when they come to school, that may be the only time they actually get a solid meal. I'll just pass it to you, Ian, after that.
Yes. Honestly, it was an honor to speak with Mr. Reverend Bass and see some of the work that they're doing to provide food and opportunities for people within our community. As a college student, and especially during COVID throughout this time, for our college parents, and like what was mentioned before, job insecurities, it's very vital for our college students here in Winston-Salem to be able to maintain a secure balance to remain focused on their studies. One of my biggest things would be pushing for affordable housing within Winston-Salem. If the city is really capable of doing something like that, I believe it'll make a tremendous positive impact on our college community. For the simple fact, a lot of students, just in the pursuit of education, they are inquiring student debt. At the time, all of our students, they may not live with their parents. Some of them may, like we said previously, may be living on campus. So being able to mitigate or lower how much money on a monthly basis that our college students are having to output to use for living, I believe that would make a big help, in the long run over the duration of their college experience. That way they'll be able to have more money to save towards paying back student loans, paying for childcare, and also with assisting with food insecurities.
Awesome. Thank you, Curtis and Ian. And how about some of the other schools? What are you seeing? What are you all seeing at Wake Forest? What are you seeing at Salem, UNC School of the Arts?
It's for my school, it's a little connected to what we were talking about previously, is a lot of food insecurity, but not so much for people that live on campus, because Salem does a great job of when you are a full-time student and you live on campus, they provide you your food, your meal, they have food pantries and stuff like that. I don't know if other schools have that. That's something they can implement or on their campuses. I don't know if they do it on other places. Another thing is transportation. I think for college students like myself, like I work and go to school full time. So if you live in Winston, but you don't have a car, if you're from out of state or if anything like that, you don't have a transportation, what do you do? There's buses and things like that, just working kind of like with the times that you need the transportation, I know Salem has, and I've seen the Wake Forest transportation buses too, but just be available and making it available.
I think we're having some feedback.
Okay, well, thank you, Myra. And I agree that transportation, I'm sure, is a challenge for many. But with our particular proposal, our focus is going to be on food insecurity and housing stability. But I definitely agree with you that transportation is an issue too. Does anyone else have anything that they'd like to share? How about Wake? What's going on at Wake Forest? What are you seeing? What are the impressions that you have?
I apologize. I was having some technical difficulty. I would say a part of the housing, let's see, a part of the housing, I would mention maybe implementing something that would have a positive impact on job security for food and housing, have something to do with job security and impacting that front through maybe, I know there's a lot of insecurity going around with finding the resources to get that, such as clothing. I know a lot of students are struggling to find like professional clothing in order to go to these interviews where they could, have a source of income. So I think that would be a positive change that maybe we could work through or find a way to implement that into the system as well.
Thanks, Cameron. And perhaps that could be implemented as a secondary focus later on. But in terms of food, And in terms of housing, do you all have any programs already on campus? Do you have things that can help? Sophie, did you want to say something?
Yeah, so Wake Forest has Campus Kitchen, and I know that the dining hall and Deacon Dining is doing an initiative where if you add on a certain number of food dollars, which you can use in different places on campus, they will donate $10 to Campus Kitchen or other initiatives on campus to help with food insecurity.
Excellent.
Awesome. That's awesome. Does everybody else have some version of that, like a campus kitchen that you know of? How about it for Forsyth Tech and Salem?
So at Forsyth Tech, we've been hosting food drives. We've had I believe we had one 2 weeks ago on Tuesday.
We did.
And we've also some of our organizations such as Alpha Mu Beta, Phi Theta Kappa. We've also partnered with Hope of Winston-Salem and other volunteer organizations to attempt to work with the community and help with fighting the food insecurity.
And also we do a lot of feeding.
Yes.
we do a lot of feeding on campus. And so there's, I would say there's a grab and go at least once every other week, if not every week. And so obviously Forsyth Tech and its board of trustees, they understand that that is a real problem living in Winston-Salem because a lot of the students come from economically disadvantaged neighborhoods. And because of socioeconomic problems that are beyond their control at this time in their life, food and transportation, housing, and then the other part of that comes with self-esteem and mental health are real and tangible problems that they see on a day-to-day basis. So Forsyth Tech is definitely taking a great leap and going above and beyond to meet those needs of our students. So we're very proud of that.
Awesome, awesome. Myra, how about at Salem? Is there a campus kitchen?
It's not, well, there's kitchens on every dorm. So at the bottom of every dorm, there's a kitchen for all the students but you have to provide your foods, everything, your groceries, things like that. And there's a farmer's market that goes every month to Salem. And you get like a bag and you can fill it up with food and fresh products.
Oh, wow.
I think it's like maybe like $7 or something like that, like not ridiculously crazy. So you can get like fresh products if you don't want to eat on the cafeteria where the food is served. There's like, I think the biggest issue at Salem is the fact that for off-campus students, you don't have those resources because you're not included on that meal plan. So you have to buy your own separate meal plan. So that's, if you don't live on campus, that is a little more difficult to, eat there, because sometimes you have to get a cafe and their prices are a little bit higher if you don't have that meal plan. Like I never bought a meal plan at with Salem just because of that. But the students that live there, it's good for them because it's already included on their tuition and everything like that.
Okay, so there's nothing so none of you all have like free access to food on your campuses for students who have a need? There's no free access?
Just like food pantry.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. A food pantry, and we have Forsyth Tech Cares. In the event of emergency, all you have to do is reach out to one of our board members and let them know that you are experiencing these difficulties, and they're going to do everything within their power to provide food from our food pantry, as well as funding to help assist you with that difficulty.
Okay, that's good. How about UNC School of the Arts? Do you all have free access?
Yes, we do. We have, like everyone else, we do have a food pantry here, which does a drive about 2 times a semester. And if a student is needing to use our pickle pantry is what we call it, they get in contact with one of our counselors here, and the counselor gives them access to the pantry, which they can go in and get any food that they would like.
Awesome. Okay, good. How about Wake?
I do know, in addition to our campus kitchen, we do have a campus garden that is trying to implement a zero waste, or is a zero waste, where they use a lot of the products from the garden into the campus kitchen, and then what's left over is filtered back through the campus garden to continue growing and having nutritious produce. And I think somewhere within that, there is an option for students to take advantage of that when there is a need, but that would be something I would like to look into further and see how exactly that's implemented, or if there's something we can help further that program.
Right. Okay. It's Cameron. Sophie.
I am actually on the executive board for Campus Kitchen at Wake, so I'm happy to be a contact in figuring out ways Wake is working on food insecurity. So I know we do partner with Campus Gardens, and it's a huge cycle. So we cook maybe with their food, but I think a lot of Campus Kitchen is going out into the community and trying to help with food insecurity in the Forsyth County.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great, Sophie. Thank you. Thank you, Cameron, too. Thanks to all of you. And Tiffany, since we do have you on, and in order for us to be prepared to answer any questions that the NLC may have of our local college students and community, would you like to share a little bit about your work with this year's CAB, and maybe give them some of your thoughts and insights about what you've heard?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like Ms. Wanda said, I'm Tiffany. I work with the city's campaign to combat hunger, and have partnered a lot with the Youth Advisory Council. So really excited to be meeting all of you. I've been working with the city for almost 2 years now. So as far as all of this goes, I am able to come in from the perspective of, I have a lot of relationships with these community organizations that you all are mentioning as well. Sophie, I'm very familiar with Brad Shugel. And so happy to also facilitate any relationships that you all need. It sounds like there's already a lot of stuff that is going on, a lot of positive things that are happening. What I'm wondering is what is missing, or what are, what does it look like for a student who, I don't know if you all are visiting some of these programs or taking advantage of them, or if you need that assistance, but if you are, or if you know someone who is, what is their experience actually engaging with that pantry? Do they have to jump through a lot of hoops? Do they have to provide a lot of documentation? Where is that pantry? So maybe there's a lot of already good things in place, but how can we make them better? Make them more accessible, make them, make it so that folks who are visiting those pantries don't have to, or initiatives or whatever program it is, don't have to lose a lot of dignity over it to get the resources that they need. And that might be an approach that you all want to consider taking, given that there is so much going on. I've heard a lot of good success around swipe sharing programs. I'm not sure if that's going on at some of your schools, where if students do have a meal plan, and at the end of the semester, typically students have some left over, and if they do, they can donate those to food insecure students. So that's another thing that I have heard about as well. I'm actually working with a research group right now who is looking at food insecurity among college students amid COVID. And so as NLC things continue forward, I'll share with you all the results of those, if it'll, influence the strategies that you all choose to move forward with. But from a personal perspective, I also shared this with YAC. I was a food insecure child and student myself. And so that's something that I always share, that I can bring that perspective to. And if that's something you're going through, I completely understand. So here to help any way that I can.
Thank you.
And Tiffany, you're not too far removed from them anyway.
No, I graduated from UNC Chapel Hill in 2018. So I am not very far removed at all. So
exactly, which is why you're such a great and valuable asset to us. So we appreciate your time. But does anyone have any questions of Tiffany? Because she has worked with the National League of Cities, but in a different realm, but with the focus on food insecurity. So she will be a good person for us to bounce ideas off of, any thoughts or insights. So that's why we really appreciate her joining us, because what the National League of Cities is requiring is that we form a team of sorts. And so again, we already have Winston-Salem State on board with through the chancellor and a couple of people in his administration. We are hoping again to add Wake Forest and Salem, Forsyth Tech, UNC School of the Arts to our local Winston-Salem cohort. And hopefully we can do that through you all, so that if your universities don't object, you can be the representatives for your respective colleges and universities. And then you hopefully will know who to go back to in order to get whatever support or resources that may be needed to move things forward. So that's what we're hoping for with CAB. Another thing I wanted to mention is just the other day, one of your CAB members, Bruce Williams from Winston-Salem State University, represented the College Advisory Board during an interview with Spectrum News. Bruce was on the call that we initially did with the National League of Cities not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, I guess. And wanted to speak with a traditional student on the call. And so Bruce wanted to represent CAB, and he did so. And so that interview will be aired tomorrow on Spectrum. I don't know if any of you have access to Spectrum News, but if you do not, we'll make sure to share the link with you. But it's those types of things that I'm really hoping you all can be prepared for, because as time goes on, the media will most certainly have an interest in what you're doing. And so it could be any one of you who'll be tapped and asked to interview with them. And so we want you to feel comfortable and well-versed enough in what we're doing to be able to have an interview with the media and do it without feeling like you're kind of unsure of what's going on. So want to just take the opportunity again to address any thoughts or questions anybody may have. Tiffany, sure.
Yeah, sorry, I just had one more thought while you were speaking. Like I was mentioning, I've heard a lot of good things that are happening. One approach would definitely be to look at improving existing programs and that experience. But another thing that you just said, Ms. Wanda, traditional versus non-traditional students. So, the area of food insecurity and housing stability is so large that you might want to look at a specific group of students, and maybe that isn't the students who are living on campus because there are so many resources available for them. Maybe you're looking at another population of students and trying to hone that down so that you can accomplish something in a pretty short amount of time, but have a positive impact now and later.
That's right, because that's a good point, Tiffany, because my understanding with this grant, and again, it's brand new, so I don't know much more than you all do, quite frankly, but we will be working with the National League of Cities this year to formulate some kind of strategy or plan for addressing the housing affordability issue and the food issue with college students. The second year, which will be next school year, we will be actually implementing that plan with them. They'll still be by our side, they'll still be accessible to us, but we'll actually be doing implementation next year. And so that is my understanding of how this will work. And so I think today, when we do this call in a few minutes, I think they're going to be sharing with us some of the things that they liked about the proposal that we submitted. And again, I wrote it, and I'll tell you, all I said basically was that Winston-Salem has a documented history of having issues, not only with food insecurity, but housing affordability. So that was the crux of the whole proposal. And the fact that we do have the College Advisory Board. My understanding is that the National League of Cities really, really liked our proposal because of you all. They thought it was just really unique, and they thought it was very cool that we have a consortium of students already coming together to talk about different things anyway. They like that collaborative. And so that was one of the biggest things that impressed them about the proposal. And so that's why I really want you all to feel free to come on strong, ask your questions, share what you're thinking with them, because you're going to be the drivers of this in more ways than one. But we've talked a lot about food insecurity, but we haven't talked much about housing. So is there anything on your respective campuses going on that assists students who may be having problems with housing? Housing affordability, whether it's on campus, off campus, or whatever. Do you all know of any programs that may be going on? Really?
No, but what I can say is that I've already started the discussion with Dr. Spriggs, the president of West Tech Community College,
Good.
about LSC. So she's, I've shared the information that you shared with me to get that process started.
About addressing the housing affordability piece?
About the entire project NLC.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome,
So,
awesome.
I'll probably talk to the Board of Trustees tomorrow about it.
Okay, awesome. Are you all aware of anyone who's had to drop out of school because of lack of housing?
One.
One?
Mhm.
Her is aware of one person.
She was on CAB last year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm not saying the name, but I'll just say the chair.
Sure, Faith, go ahead.
So I think it's a really good idea to look into specifically non-traditional students. I think that a lot of times people who took a different route in life and kind of circled back to school have a lot more struggles and responsibilities that come with it. And I was just kind of sitting here thinking about some of the people who I know who are in a similar situation. And I think one of the biggest things is just when it comes to the food and housing, like if you're not a student that's on campus, you're not aware a lot of times that this help is there, but also with you being so self-sufficient, it's not a lot of times you're going to reach out for that type of help. So like, I think that we also have to address, like, you may not think that you're in an area of help, but you're the person that we're looking for. So like, I have a friend who may think it's okay, like, oh, I'll skip a few meals, I get paid on Friday, or the health of the food that she's selecting, or not even realizing the stress, because I do have a few students or friends who are concerned with, well, am I going to have to move back home? Is moving back home going to be a mentally helpful or a healthy option while I finish school? You know, even myself, I work full time, considering at some point I'm going to have to go to a campus during the daytime. It's going to really change the situation. And I've like considered, what am I going to do as far as housing? Am I going to, you know, decide to be less independent? And I'm sure that there are a lot of other students who are having this thought process. They don't know that this is a conversation that they can have help with. And a lot of people have probably already left. And we don't even know that it was because of a situation such as housing.
I think that is an extremely valid point. And I think you're absolutely correct, because their whole thing is to prevent people from leaving. They want people to stay in school so that they can graduate, get that degree and get out of there. That's the whole thing about this new National League of Cities initiative. That's their end goal. And so
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think just as important as setting these things aside for this to be helpful is a campaign to say, you're not stripping your dignity. It's okay to ask for help. This help is for you. And a hungry student doesn't necessarily look like someone who hasn't eaten in days. A hungry student could be someone who is eating noodles every day. Because there are some studies that show that the things that you eat and put in your body can affect your mental state or your ability to perform. So just because you can get by, and what you're getting by on may not be the best. And when you see these programs, if you see these programs, they are for you. Don't assume that it's a student far worse than you. And even if that is the case, we want you to come. I feel like we also like really on a major level need to tackle the connotation that comes with the type of help that we want to give, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Tiffany, I'm so interested to know what your thoughts are.
Well, I'm in complete agreement with Faith. You know, you'll often hear people in this space, you know, saying housing is housing and food is food, but there's a lot more to it. You know, it is about the nutritional value of the food, because you're not going to be fueled for your school day, for your work day, if you're working a full-time job, or a part-time job and going to classes at the same time. If you're living in an environment that's not safe for you, but you don't really have options, living, under a bridge or living in with family members that might not necessarily be safe for you to live with, housing is not just housing and food is not just food. So I'm in complete agreement. I think, for me, I actually knew quite a few students who had dropped out for different periods of times, and they would keep coming back to school, but then, housing wasn't going to work out. So then they had to drop out of school and then come back later. And, it's just like, and I still know they haven't gotten their degree because they haven't been able to work and study, pay for their housing, pay for all the things that they needed to. And so that's something that's definitely a concern. And I think, it's more, I don't want to say it's more of the non-traditional students, but I think the non-traditional students are the students, especially the ones that aren't living on campus, Faith, like you mentioned, that don't have or maybe don't have as many resources or are just not aware of the resources. So, I mean, I think this is an awesome group and you all have great ideas. So I'm really excited to see this all play out, to see what we can do.
Absolutely. I agree. I completely agree. Any other thoughts before we merge into the National League of Cities call? Okay, we should be joined on this call from a couple of administrators from Winston-Salem State, a couple of additional people from the city of Winston-Salem, namely our city manager's office. I'm not sure who else from Winston-Salem, maybe just us, in addition to the people I just mentioned. And then the NLC will have, I think, about 4 or 5 people from their group on this call too. But, it's their meeting, their agenda. They're kind of introducing us to the program and kind of giving us a roadmap for what we can expect in the coming months, okay? So my next question, does everybody have that link for the Zoom call? If you do not, let me know, because Jamie, you have it. Do you have it pulled up? Because Jamie is nodding. So if you don't have it, she can forward you the link so that you can go ahead and merge with that call. But we have to adjourn this meeting before we do that, but we just want to make sure everybody has it. Put it this way, does anybody not have it?
I don't have it.
Could you send me the link, please?
Okay, and Larry, okay. Was that Larry?
Ian, it's
Larry Bell.
Ian.
Oh,
And
Ian. Okay, Ian, you sound like Larry Bell from marketing. Okay.
I apologize.
Okay.
Still having technical difficulties over here.
You're fine. You're fine. So Jamie, so can you send that to all of CAB then?
And Ms. Wanda, when we adjourn, I have another meeting that I have to get to because I'm the SGA president, so I have to get to that meeting.
Oh, Curtis, you're not going to be on this one. Okay.
I have to go to another meeting.
My goodness. Okay, so as many of you as possible, we need you to stick around, especially since our chair is not going to be there. We need you all to hang with us. I don't think it'll be a long meeting.
Face the VP. I think she'll be okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know how long I'll be able to stay on the call for the meeting.
Okay, I don't know that this meeting will be that long. So,
okay.
But we need for them to see you guys on the call.
Yes.
Even if you may have to leave, we need for them to see you up there for the first, bit of the meeting.
Okay.
That's important.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so everybody should have the email, Jamie, by now? Okay, so everybody check your emails for the Zoom link. And Mr. Chair, if you want to go ahead and ask for to, I don't know, I want to say adjourn necessarily, but we're going to go ahead and move. So you can go ahead and ask for that motion so we can do that.
Yes, someone submitted a motion that we will move to, I guess, postpone this meeting.
Well, we're going to merge.
We're going to merge the meetings, the meetings, and then at some point we'll table the rest of the staff reminder stuff, upcoming events until the next meeting.
Right.
I still don't have the link for the next meeting.
Okay. Let me see if I can.
Alina, watch your email. Watch your email right now, okay?
It got bounced back. I'm working on sending it right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So you need a motion, right, Curtis?
Yes, that's what I'm waiting for.
Make a motion to merge?
I motion we merge meetings.
Does anybody second the motion?
Second.
I second the motion.
Madam Secretary, we take a vote on the motion.
Yes.
Pauline,
Kaylee Kimmer,
Yay.
Sophie Brown,
Yay.
Curtis Walker,
yay.
Cameron Allen,
Yay.
Faith Springs,
Yay.
Ian Brewster,
Yay.
and Maya Ramirez.
Yay.
Any nays?
All right, the ayes have it. The motion to merge the meeting has been approved. And so now we attempt to merge the meeting with NLSC.
Okay, thank you, everybody. So what you're gonna do is leave this group and go ahead and click into the other one, okay? So I'll see you in a minute. Okay.